So there's healthy ways to grieve, and there's really unhealthy ways to grieve a loss of something or someone that you love dearly. One healthy way to grieve is to write down all the wonderful memories that you have of the person you're grieving and that you've lost. And really just sit with those and enjoy those over. Another way is to get an object, or like an old parka that your mom had when you were a little girl that you would wear all the time. And if it needs to be refurbished, get it refurbished. So I did that. And this is the parka, that's why I'm wearing it. But it's a really, really healthy way to grieve. I think of my mom often, and I mean, I'm 55 years old and she passed a couple of years ago. I still have very deep moments of grief, of missing her. So there's healthy ways to grieve and unhealthy ways to grieve. Unhealthy is to repress it, to push it down, to distract yourself, to, when the grief comes up, and it will, just anytime, don't push it down. Sit with it. Go ahead. Cry about it. But think about that person and all the positive things that you have. Grieving is very, very different than depression. Sometimes I think if you're predisposed to depression, you can grieve. If you push it down and you don't know how to grieve, you're not doing very well, you may fall into a depression. But grief is very normal and natural, and it's part of our life. A quick funny story about my mom. She's Italian, full-on Italian. Everything about her was Italian. If you haven't seen Sebastian Maniscalco, the comedian, watch him, and watch Me and My Father with De Niro. It's very funny, but my mom would always talk about dying. When I die, you guys can have this. My mom and I talked about this coat. We talked about me refurbishing this coat because she always talked about dying, and she wasn't even sick. This is when she was like in her 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, and she always talked about it. It was very funny. And when I saw that movie, Me and My Father, or something like that, with Sebastian Maniscalco and De Niro, I thought, oh my gosh, my mom was so Italian. Apparently they talk about their death all the time. Anyway, grieve appropriately and allow yourself to grieve.